Montech is back again with a more budget-oriented case, but dope as always, packed with features and above all, affordable. This is Montech King 65 Pro. It's a little brother to a bigger King 95, which you can check in the corner somewhere. So, is the baby King any good?
Looking for affordable Windows or Office keys? Look no further, I got you covered. Head over to scdkey.com, pick your Windows edition, use my discount code LE25 to get a 25% on any Windows or Office products. Once you complete your order, after a few seconds you will receive your code. In Windows, go to Settings, there should be an Activate Windows prompt at the bottom. Click that, enter your code and wait for Windows to finish activation. To check the activation status, use the command prompt with the command slmgr.vbs/xpr and you should receive a notification that the machine is permanently activated. Once again, use code LE25 at scdkey.com.
First of all, let's clear the elephant in the room. Yep, it looks like another O11 case because it's a dual chamber case and it literally resembles O11 case because it shares similar design with it, but it has things done differently and it's priced at only $99.99. It's a baby King 95 to say so, because it's a smaller and it has certain limits. First, it's the size, which is 475 in length, 300mm wide, 442mm in height. Then there are limits with fan mounting spaces, which we will talk about, but also with clearances for the GPU and CPU. So, for the CPU heatsinks, you are limited up to 175mm in size, and for the GPU up to 420mm. Technically, if you use any AIO, there are no limits then, only with certain air coolers. And for the GPU, well, 420mm is plenty enough for monster cards, so disregard this as a limit. To get inside, you need to remove just a single captive thumb screw at the back and pull the glass panel on the tab. It will pop off from the frame being held by pegs there. For a more budget-oriented case, the glass is unusually thick and massive at 4mm. Interior is plain and simple, ready to build with ease. Thus we have holes for all the major cables, while the side ones are equipped with rubber grommets. There is of course a reasonable cutout in the motherboard tray, on the back of the motherboard tray, for easier CPU cooler installation once everything is already assembled. Being a newer case, I expected back connect motherboard support, but it seems that not everyone is on board with that trend, so the support here is up to ATX size and all smaller variants of course. Inside the case, technically, on the side, there are two 140mm reverse blade fans pre-installed. Both are ARGB enabled and PWM controlled, and both of them are sitting on a swinging door, much like on the King 95, which can be oriented to be front intake fans. But what is the purpose with these orientations, since this case comes without additional front mesh panel? Maybe this is a future DLC thing. But at least you know that there is an option for that, so you can convert it to be front intake fan orientation as well. Also here on the side you can mount up to 240mm radiators, since 280 can't fit due to the height limit. At the bottom of the case you can install up to 3 120 or 2 140mm fans and thus provide plenty enough airflow for the chimney style cooling of your components. The specs of the case doesn't say anything about radiator support here in the bottom, but I guess the 360 can easily fit here since the dimensions allows it. Rear side houses another pre-installed fan. This is a 120mm fan and it also has ARGB and it is PWM controlled. This is the only size supported here at the rear side. Removal of the top panel is super easy, no fuss, just pull it up and it comes off. It has a dense mesh on it, no additional filters, as the cover itself is sufficient to act as one and it doesn't obstruct the airflow. Up here you can mount up to 3 120 or 2 140mm fans or up to 360mm in radiators. One awesome feature here is the completely removable fan bracket up top, so you can take the bracket out, attach it to the AIO or mount fans on it and simply drop it all together in the case for easier building. One more thing about the interior are the PCI brackets. Actually no bars between them, so using any vertical GPU kit is possible here. At the very bottom of the case there are luckily large enough feet to elevate the case from your desk surface so it can pull fresh air properly and thus there is a full-length dust filter here as well, which is pulled from the back. The front I/O panel is positioned on the front as with most of the Montech dual chamber cases. It includes a big power button up top, followed by a reset or RGB switching button, since you can wire it to be either reset or RGB switching button, separate mic and headphone combo jacks, 2 USB 3.0 ports and a single USB-C port. The rear side of the case reveals some interesting things. First, the fan can be positioned up or down if needed. I mean, if it blocks your AIO or something. I already mentioned this, the PCI brackets and no bars between them, and you can actually see two spaces for the PSU here. Actually, one is for the PSU and the other is for the hard drive cages. The rear panel is completely perforated for maximum air intake, both for the side fans and for the PSU area. It's a dense mesh type without any additional mesh filters. Removal is the same as the front one single thumb screw at the back and just pull the panel out. Here you can see that you can remove the protective cover at the rear side and gain access to a hard drive caddy. There are two plastic caddies here, each one accepting one 3.5-inch drive or one 2.5-inch drive, with space for 3 more 2.5-inch drives, one on the cage itself and 2 more on the swinging side fan rail, I mean doors, which is not the same fan rail as the one on the inside. I told you that you can swing the side fans to be front fans. Well, while you are doing that, the side fan support remains the same. So you can still mount two 120 or two 140mm fans here and still use front fans as well, possibly with the DLC mesh panel, that is. Anyhow, it is possible to remove hard drive cage completely or switch places for the PSU or use two PSUs here. The maximum length is up to 185mm in size, and the bottom chamber for the PSU has that cool rubber thingy that PSU sits on. The coolest thing is that this small case and budget price as well also comes with a 6 PWM and ARGB fan hub up top, so you are covered for all your fans and ARGB needs. It uses one single SATA for power and one PWM fan header for connection to your motherboard. Performance-wise, I haven't seen any irregularities while using this case. I use Ryzen 5 7600X for the CPU and extremely chunky Radeon RX 7900 XTX for the GPU. It fits here without any issues and it was cooled pretty well. I used Montech Hyperflow 360 AIO for the CPU cooling. It kept the CPU at 36 degrees at idle, mostly in the lower 50s while gaming, averaging around 54 degrees and maxing out at 76 degrees. I had no doubts in this AIO, it's a monster of an AIO. GPU idle was 26 degrees, possibly that two 140mm fans aided in its cooling, while gaming, depending on the title, temps were usually around 55 to 56 degrees, and the max load that I saw with this card and this case was 60 degrees. So all in all, $99.99 bring you awesome performance and 3 pre-installed fans, of course. So pros and cons then. I would like to start with the cons, but the case got none of those. I don't know, maybe just a few. Major one being that swinging side fan bracket, which has no use at the moment. Hopefully additional mesh panel will be released so users can pick either glass or mesh variant, and a con here would be additional cost. If Montech included the panel like the King 95, that would have been a major thing for this case. Other than that, I have no remarks. I mean, I can nitpick about no rubber grommets on top and bottom cable holes and such, but we have to accept that this is a sub $100 case and that some things here are not gonna be there in that price range. Pros, well, actually everything else. It's a nice performing case and sub $100 price, which has become a classic for Montech lately. Top space between the AIO and motherboard is also great, as it does not touch the RAM sticks, beside being a smaller sized case. 3 pre-installed fans are of course a bonus as well, alongside a nice storage support if you need those. PSU mounting places are also a bonus. Seems like they listen to their fans and give them exactly what they need. From me, this case easily gets a highly recommended award. Anyhow, in case you have any questions, remarks, regards or such, you know where to type those. In the meantime, sub to the channel, like and share the video, and I'll see you in the next one.